أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله ولي الصالحين وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد. Inshallah, we're just starting the third part of our series of advice to new Muslims, and these series are designed, inshallah, to help new Muslims deal with some of the issues that they're faced when they become Muslim. And I will give, inshallah, some practical issues, some practical solutions to some of the problems, and inshallah, together from experience and this and that, we can help each other to overcome some of these things. So inshallah, if you watch the first and second part, and this is part 3, and then I'll make actually a few other parts. So inshallah, actually today we'll be talking about something very important. And this is how to deal with your parents and your peers once you become Muslim. This is something very important because a lot of people become Muslim. Obviously, they are from non-Muslim families. Their families are not Muslim yet. And in some cases, some people who are born Muslim, they're raised in Muslim families, but their families don't practice Islam. They themselves come to Islam, start practicing. They were faced with the same problem. So maybe it might apply to both, inshallah. So anyway, let's say you become Muslim, you take Shahada, alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has guided to Islam. How do you tell your parents that you have become Muslim? Do you tell them or not? Well, that all depends on the circumstances. You have to use a lot of judgment, you have to use a lot of hikmah, and you have to understand the situation, right? Are they ready to hear that you're a Muslim or not? How do they find Islam? What kind of practicing stage are there in their faith? Are they like really hardcore, for example, of some kind of faith? Are they opposing Islam? Have you ever heard something in the house, that, oh, I hate Muslims, or these Muslims, and I would kill Muslims, or something like that? Do you want to tell them right away when you hear that? So you have to understand, you have to know, what are you tackling, right? So that should depend, right? So you can tell them if you want to, if you think that, you're prepared, you think that the grounds are prepared, you think that, they're ready to hear. Maybe they don't care that much, maybe they're more secular. Maybe they're not that religious in their faith, or maybe they are and they would respect you. So you have to be very careful in understanding that. So if you do choose to tell them, you have to also prepare the grounds. You have to, you can't just drop the bomb and then one day you're just like, oh, mom, dad, guess what, I'm Muslim, right? We have to also understand their stand, especially from what they see in the media and everything, that goes around with Islam. Can you imagine? You just tell them that, hey, mom, dad, I become Muslim. And they're like, whoa, what's going on? What is this? How come? They're shocked, right? I mean, sometimes, subhanAllah, I found that, people will be more shocked if you tell them that you're Muslim than if you told them, oh, mom, I committed a crime, or I'm gay, or something like that. SubhanAllah, they would accept that more easy. But when it comes to Islam, because they've been so brainwashed, and the society has been so brainwashed by the media, when they hear the word Islam, there's a negative connotation attached to it right away. It's, this alarm rings in the mind right away. Oh, Islam, terrorism, oh, beers, guns, whatnot. So they're very scared about it. They might be like, so we have to also, really, we can't really blame them. We have to understand them, right? We have to understand where they're coming from. Like their baby, for example, you are their baby, and sometimes, in their eyes, has, kind of moved away from what they, taught you. You've moved away from what they raised you up with. So they kind of feel betrayed sometimes, especially if they're, for example, Catholic, or, some very, practicing Christian background. They'll feel like, especially the father, right, who's the head of the house, they'll feel like very betrayed. I did, like, what did I do wrong? I've done my best to teach them, to take them to, church or synagogue or whatever. And he has, kind of betrayed me, right? So we have to understand that. We have to use a lot of hikmah, a lot of wisdom in how to deal with this, how to, prepare the grounds. If you decide to not tell them, which is okay. That's what I did for the beginning, actually. For my dad, especially. I didn't tell him for like a year and a half, I believe, or 2 years, something, maybe a year and a half. So, but alhamdulillah, it came out that, somehow he found out and he asked me and he was okay with it. But, I was trying to kind of keep it, secret. I was keeping it secret also from my friends, because especially, sometimes your friends will not understand. They'll be like, what is this guy doing? He's crazy. A lot of people made fun of me. Some friends, of course, most of my friends found out right away, and they used to make fun of me, and, my family started making fun of me when they found out. I think my brother found out, from one of the first ones, and mom, my mom didn't make fun of me, but my brother definitely did. So, I was very, very, upset. So you have to be careful with them. You have to be careful how to deal with these issues. You have to be careful how to, prepare the ground, right? So if you decide not to tell them, which is okay, which is fine. A lot of the early Muslims have done that. A lot of the early Muslims have concealed their faith. It's called taqiyya. Because they're afraid something bad will happen, or it could just be a strategy, right? That you're preparing the grounds. So you can do that, inshallah. You can try to prepare the grounds. Now, let's say you tell them you're Muslim. How do you're in a non-Muslim house now. Let's say you live with your parents, okay? You told them, mom, that I'm Muslim. Maybe they accepted it, maybe not. Doesn't matter which way they digested it. It doesn't matter now. What do you do from now? Obviously, the biggest mistake that we do right away is when we find that we have the truth and haqq and everything, right? We're so excited. We're so like, yeah, I want to tell everyone, and I want to give da'wah to everyone. And you start making a YouTube account, and you start, making a Facebook, and you start making whatever other, things, and you start talking to people and your parents. Now, my mistakes, what I did is, right away, actually I start arguing with people. Whenever someone would come, like, especially Christians, right? I was so mad at Christianity, and, and I was, because, I studied, some of the things, and I'm like, man, how come I never saw that all my life? And now I'm seeing it. How come? I used to go, Catholic school. I used to talk to my teacher, and they could never, answer me. They could never, give me clear up the things. I was very like, I want to talk to people. I want to, show them that, their faith is not right. Christianity is not right. I want to show them what's up. This is the wrong attitude to take. You can't do that. First of all, we don't have the knowledge sometimes of Islam right away. I mean, you're just a fresh puppy, in Islam. So sometimes we don't have the actual, knowledge. So it can hurt, right? A lot of the new Muslims, they come and try to make da'wah. It can hurt them. They can hurt their parents and their friends. What I used to do, I used to go around like, you're going to hell. And I mean, I know some other new Muslims, right? Like, you're going to hell, and what are you doing this? This is shirk and bid'ah, and it's kufr and disbelief. How can you worship a man, and how can you worship these things? How can you do this? How can you do that? I used to be very like, assertive, very like, this is wrong, and you people don't know what you're doing. You'll see on the day of judgment. So I used to scare them. They'd be like, what is wrong with this guy? He's crazy. My mom, I used to tell, you'll see on the day of judgment. You'll see, there's two kinds of people. People are with Islam going to heaven. People are not going to hell. So where do you want to go? And she was scared. She's like, what is this guy doing? So stop. Try not to do that. Try to take things gradually. Try to take things easy. Yes, you have the haqq, alhamdulillah. Try to take things slowly though. Try to, you show your actions more than your words. You don't have the proper words. Look at the Prophet ﷺ, how he gave da'wah. He was so smart in his da'wah. He was so, used hikmah. So be careful. You practice more than, you just preach, okay? Try to show them. Try to let them see a change in you. Let them see how Islam changed you. Respect them. Do more for the family. Do more for the house. Understand them. Understand their shock. Understand where they're coming from. Respect their house. Respect the rules of the house. Yes, you're Muslim and you have things that you have to, abide by. But make sure that you have to respect the rules of the house, so especially if they don't conflict with Islam, right? And even if they do conflict with Islam, it's not your house. You have no control over it. So you have to deal with it, right? So inshallah, I will continue my second part, inshallah, and I will have a little, preview of the next show, inshallah, after. Assalamu alaikum.